In this video, I'm going to talk about why people mistake their attitude with motivation and willpower. And this comes down to, I believe, an aspect of belief, because most people would look to either motivation or, on the other hand, willpower as what is detrimental to whether or not they progress with a goal or not. And obviously, I'm going to obviously give people a little heads up. That's probably not the case, because if you saw the intro, uh, I've obviously competed at multiple world championships, two Paralympics to name just a few, and that's not to boast. But even during that 10-year illustrious career, I did have moments where I had slip ups in motivation. The willpower just wasn't there. Obviously, we're the back end of February. Um, Obviously, I know so many athletes that are still competing that would have struggled with day to day with their motivation to practice or to train, because obviously, like the best of them and the general populace, there's going to be moments where their motivation wanes, or it's not necessarily where it would like to be on what is relatively a good day. So it's not that people lack motivation or willpower, or that's what they believe. It is mm, pretty much they need to look at maybe what is their attitude. And obviously, sports people are maybe slightly better at that, because there's an expectation or a standard to be measured against another individual, a team, because there's a certain culture that is cultivated that almost represents, as if we fall below these standards, or what our team believe in. That's an attitude. That is, if you're willing to obviously, push on and persevere, push through, that's an attitude. That's not necessarily me having more willpower or another individual having more willpower than yourself. That's you could say, there's an aspect of perseverance, there's an aspect of doggedness, determination to prove something to be correct, to be right. I'm not saying something to be proven wrong, because that's a different topic altogether. But that's an attitude. That's not a willpower. That's, hey, come hell or high water, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna think positively. I'm going to think to solve problems to what's going on, which is obviously circumstantial. How do I look to, if I haven't got plan A, do I go to plan B? Do I go to plan C? Do I go to plan D? I've not written this post, but this is I'm gonna tie it in. But I watched a Gary V podcast episode with Matt Higgins. So for the American audience, and obviously this is being streamed to LinkedIn as well. Matt Higgins is one of the four contributors to Shark Tank. So obviously, for the people that are maybe in the UK, it's the British equivalent of Dragon's Den. So be it, I will link that in the comments for people to go and watch. But obviously, he's released a book just in the last week about burning your plan B. But if you haven't got the belief in your plan A, that might come down to your attitude, in terms of, if you view failure in a certain way, that, hey, everything always goes against me, the world is against me, that is slipping into a, sorry to say it, but it's a victim mentality. It's a weak mentality, and it's not going to serve you, versus utilizing motivation as the trigger. And this is why when I speak to people, I say it's very important to look at your why. Why is it important for you to achieve X, Y, Z? Because those will lay the foundations for your attitude going forward in terms of, hey, I'm not feeling it today. Okay, why not? I'm not saying motivation or willpower won't rear its ugly head and you're going to lack some of those, but that gives you the ability to rewrite the script. And I'm going to give you something to take away for today, because I've shared it numerous times behind the scenes. So I thought it'd be quite helpful as an action point to take away from this video. Is I'm not going to tell the story because obviously the person's going to remain unnamed, and obviously the story can stay the same. But I've done it with 2 clients and 1 person that came to speak to me in terms of when a scenario presents itself, you have 3 choices. In this instance, you look at how the circumstance is going to reward me, how is it going to benefit me, and I'm going to obviously put this on the other hand. What is the risk by persevering with it? In this instance, obviously, you could look at what were the pros and cons, and then outweigh, benefit and reward versus the con of doing it. But in that instance, if something notably negative occurs and I get in my own head, what is the benefit for me doing X, Y, Z? So whatever your input, your goal, what is the reward that is going to give me in the long term by doing that goal is the reward. So almost like dangling a carrot. And then obviously on the other end of that is well, say consequence or a risk. What would be the con to doing it? So be it if it was something that's inside your head, okay, what's the benefit for me to do? So the why. So going back to the why, what is the benefit for me to do it? X, Y, Z. What's the reward that it gives me? X, Y, Z. What's the risk? Oh, there's a judgment factor to it. What it's either gonna come down to what am I gonna think of it? What are other people gonna think of it? And what are other people gonna say about it? And then it's looking at what's the magnitude of those last 2 as to whether I do something or not. Because if it's the wider field of social media, most people don't care what people have to say on social media. Some people take it more personally, and that's for something for another video, because at the end of the day, it's looking more internally, because I'm obviously going to park that because I'll go off the massive tangent if I cover it, but that's something for another day. Then it's looking in your inner circle, as who's within my network that is twice removed, third removed. How often did I see them throughout the year? That might be a bigger concern. Whereas the person that's maybe on the periphery, what the opinion doesn't really matter to me in the long run. And then if we get closer and closer to that inner circle, which is obviously friends and family, that's when it becomes an issue, because what's my sister gonna think? What's my brother gonna think? What's my mother gonna think? What's my dad gonna think? What's my grandma? And on and on and on. And in certain scenarios and certain circumstances, if they've not gone through it themselves, and I've not said this because I'm literally regurgitating what somebody said, but that's what information is, and I believe it is either Tony Robbins or Gary Vee. What does the 99% of people's opinions matter? Because they're not going to action whatever they say for themselves. So what does their opinion matter? The percentage that you should be listening to is the 1% that have done it for themselves, or are in a similar position as you find yourself right now, and maybe a little bit further ahead, because they are treading the same path as either you want to get to, they're treading the same path that you are right now, or they're miles ahead. They're not somebody from the periphery as they're on the sidewalk or on the highway and kind of flagging you down. Oh, what, you're going in the wrong direction, James. Yeah, but you've never gone in that direction in your entire life. So I think we obviously take on board people's own insecurities and we present them as ourselves. So this is why motivation and willpower does not necessarily help, because in all instances, everybody's going to have a loss of motivation. I'm not going to use the word lack because I don't agree with it. Are going to lose motivation at some point in time and willpower, and depending on which side of the tracks you fall, this is a discussion in itself. Some people believe one way, as you create your own motivation, you create your own luck, blah 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 blah, and other people would say that you cultivate it by the 5 people that you surround yourself. Those are 2 different arguments, but I'm not going to cover that. Whereas, obviously, if we just focused on attitude, and that was literally the shining light above the 2, I now dictate how much motivation. So, say excitement in this case, which would not dictate either of those. If I'm excited about I won't say persevering, following through with my goal, I'm going to be very positive going forward. Motivation doesn't need to come up. It's there. It's an ember inside of me that, oh, okay, let me stoke it. That's not motivation. That's an excitement to persevere, follow through, keep going with something that is necessarily difficult. Obviously, it's old school. Patience is a virtue, but you will get the reward at the end of the rainbow. And that's something that we were brought up as kids to believe. And obviously, that is a mental attitude, because I'm choosing to look at something inherently positive. Motivation and willpower, not necessarily. It's almost grayish, and it doesn't sit anywhere, because if I was to watch TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, I'm typing those words, and then I watch 5 seconds, say not even 30 seconds of a video, I would be motivated. But that is inherently not mine. That's something that is, we'll call it hype. That's what it is, because it's like, if it was American football video, basketball video, that's what those are hype reels. So literally, if I can stoke my prehistoric brain to respond, so to literally fight or flight. So I have 2 choices. I either go on the offensive, I retreat, or I'm stuck in one place. So fight, flight, or freeze. And where I believe most so in, obviously, Matt's book is burn your boats is literally on a militaristic term. They burnt everything that they had in order to give the soldiers no other choice. There is no escape. You need to take on this adversity, because that's what the boat literally represents, is your fears, your insecurities. And in order for me to survive, I need to obviously get rid of you. It's non-negotiable. Literally, people are going to do that because, okay, you've possessed a threat to me, and obviously you are now in my way. So I'm going to go through you in order to achieve my objective. So that's all I'm going to say on the matter. Obviously, Clarence, thank you for joining. Keith, thank you for commenting. I hope you both are very well, and appreciate you commenting on the video. So, if you like this video, I'd love to hear some comments in, be it LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. Put them in the comments. If you agree, you disagree, put them in the comments. We can have a conversation and go from there. Um, if there's some points you would like to me to go further into, obviously put them in the comments, and by all means, I will obviously respond. So I hope you guys have a wonderful Monday. Hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you very soon.